Introducing The Overcoming Law by Richard A. Posner, a groundbreaking piece of work that reimagines the law not as a static set of rules, but as a dynamic and evolving tool for addressing our society's critical issues. Posner, a highly respected legal scholar, disrupts the conventional legal theory and proposes a pragmatic approach to law. This approach emphasizes the importance of empirical data and real-world outcomes over abstract notions. The overcoming law is more than just a theoretical proposition, it is a rallying cry for a shift in the legal dialogue, from the theoretical to the empirical, from arguments to practicality. Posner's pragmatic approach to law insists on rooting our legal arguments in the facts and realities of our world. It proposes that our decisions be based on data and evidence, and also advocates for the law to be adapted to overcome the obstacles faced by society. In this segment, we're going to explore Posner's vision of law, which he perceives as a flexible tool rather than a rigid set of rules. His vision declares that law should progress hand in hand with the society it serves. Posner advocates for a shift from the theoretical comprehension of law, which is often disconnected from reality, to a factual one rooted in real-life experiences. The essence of Posner's perspective lies in the significance of empirical data and real-world impacts in shaping the law. He argues against the traditional law's dependency on abstract concepts, positioning it as detached from the practicalities of society. For Posner, law should not be about just maintaining abstract principles or ideals, it should be about problem-solving. His vision redefines law from what it should be to what it is and how it can be utilized to address societal issues. With empirical data as the cornerstone, Posner's approach enables a more subtle and adaptive comprehension of law. This perspective acknowledges the intricacies of modern society and the need for the evolution of law to meet these challenges. It's a plea for a realistic, pragmatic approach to legal reasoning, one that isn't hesitant to question the existing norms and advocate for advancement. As we delve deeper into our narrative, we concentrate on the crux of Posner's practical methodology, the empirical turn. This paradigm shift metamorphoses the conversation of law from an exclusively theoretical sphere into a realm driven directly by empirical data and real-world insights. Posner's interpretation of law breaks free from the rigid confines of courtrooms or the abstract narratives of legal manuals. Instead, he perceives law as a dynamic mechanism that develops in tandem with society, propelled by the empirical evidence we gather from surroundings. This methodology treats every legal dispute as a query warranting research, necessitating data and evidence for its resolution. The empirical turn renders the law something palpable, anchored in the experiences of individuals and communities. It reconceptualizes the law from a normative, abstract entity into a descriptive, empirical one, rooted in tangible. This transition from normative to empirical not only enhances the flexibility of the law, but also amplifies its accountability. It necessitates that each legal verdict, law, and policy should be grounded in empirical data, ensuring their effectiveness, relevance, and justice. However, Posner's empirical turn isn't merely about employing data for decision-making. It signifies a shift in our conceptualization of law, challenging the conventional notion of law as a static, unalterable entity, and instead viewing it as a dynamic, progressive instrument for addressing societal issues. It's a transition that acknowledges the intricacies of contemporary society and the requirement for a more nuanced and adaptable legal system. In the ensuing segment, we will scrutinize some of the criticisms of this methodology, along with its enduring significance in today's legal scenario. Stay with us. Now, let's take a closer look at the practical applications of the overcoming law. One of the most pertinent fields where it unfolds is in environmental laws. By interpreting empirical data related to climate change, lawmakers have the ability to construct legislation that directly addresses the environmental issues we face, thereby utilizing the law as a robust tool for safeguarding our ecology. Switching contexts, we explore how data-driven insights fuel the creation of laws concerning public health. By methodically analyzing patterns and trends in public health data, lawmakers are empowered to devise laws that tackle the root causes of health disparities, ensuring equal access to quality healthcare for all. Similarly, we can see the impact of the overcoming law in criminal justice. When an empirical approach is applied to study crime data and patterns, the resultant laws not only contribute to reducing crime rates, but also guarantee fair treatment for all individuals involved. Through these policies, lawmakers can pinpoint the underlying reasons behind crimes, leading to more effective and equitable solutions in our society. These instances how the overcoming law can be applied to various fields, radically altering our approach to legal conundrums. It isn't merely about using data to make decisions, it's about harnessing this data to make the law a more effective instrument for societal change. This groundbreaking approach to law, which is rooted in empirical evidence and a pragmatic perspective, challenges the traditional view of law as static and rigid. Instead, it views the law as a dynamic, adaptable structure that evolves along with society. As we proceed, we'll explore the criticisms of this approach. But for now, let's appreciate the potential that the overcoming law brings to the table, and the transformative effect it can have on our legal system. Stay with us. Moving forward from exploring the practical applications of the overcoming law, we must squarely confront the criticisms it faces. Critics point out that this law concept leans heavily on utilitarian principles, risking the neglect of ethical or justice-centric viewpoints. It's a valid critique, as the law acts not solely as an instrument for societal transformation, but also as a custodian of justice and morality. Proponents of the overcoming law, however, hold that a harmony between these aspects is both achievable and desirable. They stand by the belief that while empirical facts and practical rationality steer the evolution of the law, ethical factors are not pushed aside. Rather, these factors serve as the philosophical bedrock of the law, directing its application and interpretation. Another critique points to the potential oversimplification of intricate legal matters when viewed through an economic lens. This critique holds weight as law is a complex field that cuts across several societal facets. Yet proponents contend that the economic viewpoint is not aimed at oversimplification, but instead provides an alternative viewpoint. It is a tool used to comprehend the potential ramifications and efficacy of legal regulations, not a stand-in for the profound intricacy of legal pondering. In the subsequent section, we will delve deeper into these criticisms. But for now, it's crucial to recognize that the overcoming law is not without its critics. That being said, these critiques don't diminish its potential. On the contrary, they add to our comprehension and application of this methodology. Stay with us. As we delve deeper into the overcoming law, we must examine its pertinence in the world we inhabit today. In the modern era, evidence-based decision-making has become indispensable. Every field, from healthcare to education, business strategies to public policy, underscores the need for empirical data and hard evidence. The sphere of law is no exception. Posner's The Overcoming Law encapsulates this trend, espousing a practical and empirical methodology to legal reasoning. This methodology doesn't only rely on data for making informed, but it goes a step further. It necessitates an understanding of the potential consequences and efficacy of legal statutes in real-world scenarios. It insists on our legal frameworks being not only theoretically robust but also practically advantageous for society. It envisions law as an instrument for societal advancement rather than merely a rigid set of rules. With this perspective, it's clear that the overcoming law is not simply a theoretical idea. Instead, it's a practical, pertinent methodology that aligns with the spirit of our contemporary, data-driven, and results-focused world. As we transition to the next scene, we'll explore the critiques of the overcoming law. But for the time being, let's acknowledge the aptness and significance of this methodology in our current world. Stay with us. The overcoming law, a bold and innovative concept, has not been without its fair share of critics. Critics argue that the approach of Posner, the mind behind this idea, fails to adequately address the normative aspects of law. They argue that his perspective relies excessively on utilitarian considerations, possibly leading to an overlook of ethical or justice-oriented viewpoints. This critical commentary doesn't just stop there. The detractors further warn about the perilous simplification of intricate legal matters through the application of an economic perspective. As a result, they fear that this could potentially distort or oversimplify the complex nature of legal issues. Despite such considerable criticisms, The Overcoming Law maintains its reverberating presence within the legal fraternity. In the contemporary era where evidence-based decisions are held in high regard, the relevance of Posner's The Overcoming Law is hard to dismiss. From cosmopolitan cities in the United States to the rugged terrains of Nepal, the principles articulated in this riveting book offer crucial understandings of how law can help conquer societal problems. The Overcoming Law by Richard A. Posner proposes a dynamic perspective of law as a mechanism for addressing societal issues. It fervently champions the transition from theoretical to empirical legal reasoning, underscoring the necessity for law's adaptability. Despite facing criticism for its strong focus on utilitarian considerations, it continues to be an important voice in discussions about the evolution of legal systems. The Overcoming Law is more than just a book. It's an ignition switch for dialogue about the function of law in society and its capacity to adapt and transform.